Hello, everyone. Thank you if anyone is joining us or watching this on replay. Today, I have one of my amazing clients, Brook, with me, and I'm just going to be asking her a few questions. She's finished up the Confident Eater program, so you guys can get a better idea of her experience, her transformation, and also see that it's possible for you, because we all have human brains and we all think that we can't change ours and ours is unique and ours is broken. But that's just not true. And so if one person can do it, so can you. So Brooke, if you want to say hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you and what your relationship with food and your body was like before we started working together.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Brooke, live in Denver. I teach and I coach lacrosse and I work in IT. I have a cat and a dog. Is that enough about me? Probably. Before going through the program, I think I was constantly nervous that I might, constantly upset at myself that I was always doing such a bad job, constantly nervous that I was just going to eat food out of nowhere or an urge would come up, constantly beating myself up, couldn't focus at work because I'm just looking at like the snacks that someone brought. I felt like really hopeless too, or really confused, because there's so many times where it's like I'll just wake up in the morning and I'll do it again. I'll start fresh. Like I'll get back on the treadmill. I'll eat broccoli and salmon.
Yeah, all the all or nothing.
Yeah, it's gonna be perfect. So I'll just finish out. Today was really, really bad. So I'll just double down. I'll just like eat as much junk as I can right now because I'm starting fresh tomorrow and I'll never do this again. And then wake up and then it doesn't actually go any better the next day. And then that's a really defeating process, to do that over and over and over.
And would you say you defined yourself as an overeater or binge eater or kind of both?
Kind of both. There are even kind of almost moments of anorexia a little, but binge eater, overeater. Yeah.
And how many times a week would you say you were in the binge eating or overeating every week on average?
At least 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah. A lot of money was spent on buying stuff too, by the way.
Right. And then like you mentioned, sometimes we do kind of fall on like the anorexic spectrum too, because we go from, really, really hungry and trying to do good that day. And, we're going to stick to our calorie deficit and we're going to lose weight once and for all. But then, of course, that pushes us in the far other direction because our brain is trying to protect us and keep us alive so we don't starve to death. And then we end up on the other side. And then we get kind of caught in this cycle and it's hard to get out of it. And then even when we stop restricting, sometimes the binge eating and overeating will still continue because then we have that strong habit around it.
Yeah, which was one of the biggest things that actually helped me is like restricting so much and then being, of course, the biological, how you've taught me, it's like the biological, of course, when you starve yourself for that long, your body just acts up, and then that there's nothing wrong with me. That's so helpful. I think it was one of the first things we covered is like, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just how a brain works. Like, let's kind of rewire it, untangle it a little.
Exactly. And I remember with you too, there was a bit of fear around like trying to include more regular meals because we just look at it in that moment. Like, oh my gosh, we have to start eating breakfast and lunch. And we normally skip breakfast and lunch. So then there's like this extra food in our day. But what did you actually experience when you started including more food in?
Yeah, that's wild actually, because I'm like, it's so uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to eat anymore right now. And then so we eased into it, and I just realized it became so much easier. Like my mood was even. I did have more energy. Like counterintuitively, like kind of lost weight when I started eating more. Like that does a weird doozy, or at least it didn't matter either. That's the other thing. Like it felt at ease. All of a sudden, when I'm like eating breakfast, eating lunch, when I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to, because I thought like I ate too much yesterday, so I'm trying to make up for it today. I'm not going to eat lunch. But then when I actually started doing it, like just an ease, just freedom, just a healthier mind, sleeping better.
Yeah.
Not binging later because I already, yeah.
So as we went through the program, we have a lot of ups and downs, but by the end, we have done so much together. So what would you say were some of the biggest positive changes you made in your eating and life since starting the program?
Yeah. My life is radically different. This is the best thing that I've ever done. I really wish I would have found you 10 years ago. I think it's nice that I finally I have freedom, or I can't lie. I guess I was under this impression that like I was gonna heal, everything was gonna be perfect after a day. And then realizing like there's still little mind thoughts that come up, but you've given me the tools to handle these thoughts and feelings, and notice that like um doesn't have to come over. It doesn't mean I'm a horrible person. So that if I'm going all over the place. If I was going to summarize the biggest thing, it would be that. And it's not just food, because it's like it's helped me in all of my other areas of life, of like I'm not a terrible person, I'm not out of control, I'm not completely hopeless, I'm not doing a terrible job, like I'm not fundamentally flawed at my core. And so you helped me realize like, wow, I'm really okay, like I'm really great, I really like my life. These are just kind of some thoughts that I picked up. And yeah, should I keep
Yeah.
going on like how I feel now as opposed to then?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you feel a lot better physically, but it also helps our life emotionally, right? And we forget, because eating is something we do every day, multiple times a day. If that's not going well, like all of the other aspects of our life also aren't going well. So maybe you can tell me where you think your life would be differently, let's say in 5 years from now, if you hadn't got coaching and you were still dealing with the eating struggles.
Yeah. Ooh, man. I think I'd always just feel embarrassed, because it is true. As these things have evolved, I do feel emotionally more. I have more bandwidth. I have more mental focus. I have more, just like happier at work. I'm like leaning into these things. I'm believing in myself and like having confidence, and people. My relationships are getting so much better because I can have conversations with people. Like I can go to dinner, sit down with someone, and actually be focused and listening and connecting with them, rather than just terrified about what I am eating or not. So like my relationships are getting better. If I hadn't gone through this work, I think I would be single for the rest of my life too, because there's also this thing of like I can't have someone around witnessing. Like I can't date someone and have them watch me as I'm like pounding through entire packages of things as I'm trying to go to sleep, and then try to be in an like I'm sure it I'd be just an emotional turmoil. And eating more, beating myself up more, definitely not as successful at work. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think it's interesting that you mentioned the partner thing, because a lot of times people who are married or have spouses in the house, they just hide it from them. And then it brings in this like extra additional aspect of shame. And if that is any of you guys, like just know it's pretty normal to feel shameful, like whether you're alone or whether you're with people, it can just be a shameful thing because we keep doing the thing we don't want to be doing and we're embarrassed about it. And sometimes that can be a really motivating reason for people to change, is they don't want their husband to see it anymore, and they don't want their kids to see it. They want to be a good example for them. So you can think about,
yeah,
where that might show up for you and how you want to work through that in order to get rid of the shame. But in order to do that, yes, we need to stop the binge eating. There's also a lot of thought work involved with that.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
what did you love most about working together? And me and Brooke, we still do a lot of life coaching stuff together, which is really awesome, because once you work through these food struggles, you'll realize like there's so many areas of life that become open to you that you want to improve. So what's that been like?
yeah. Oh, it's been awesome. I have to admit there are some, so it's like a weekly thing, which I've learned to isolate. Like after things go bad or something, sometimes the last thing I want to do is get on a call and talk about it, because so that has been one of the things that I love, is realizing like I can mess up something and say it to you. I can bring you my darkest, deepest fear. I can bring you like, I did this and I did that and I was thinking this, and then I'm so shameful about myself and who I am and how I believe about the body and body image, and I can bring you the most horrible like these things of myself that I'm so embarrassed or shameful about, and then you'll just be like, yeah, okay, that's normal, why do you think that's there, like, and then it makes me realize that like being able to be heard by you and being able to bring these things up, and that alone just makes me be like, wow, I don't have to stomach this, I don't have to, I can bring it up, someone can hold space and really still believe in me. That is huge. I think
Yeah.
you've always believed in me, and I've almost even tested
Good
like,
job.
yeah.
Believe in everyone.
And it's amazing because then there's like these moments where I can lean on you and you're like, you're doing great, like this is awesome, you're right on. That alone has like planted seeds and made me just love also the things, can I say one more, and I'm really long-winded right now. These things are, they can be really, really serious and then really, really fun. Like, I can't eat Nutter bars or like Oreos or whatever. I just can't do it. And you're like, go get one. Or can I bring one and eat it in front of you, show you that I can't do it? Like, yeah, let's do it right now. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
In real
And I like
time.
to think of myself as a fun coach. And I'm glad you think of
Yeah.
that too, because we all have darkness inside of us. Like we all have things that we don't like, that we don't want to go through, that we don't want to share. But when you can like bring it up in a safe space and shine the light on it, that's when the healing happens. And that's when we start to make progress in our life and we don't keep getting stuck in the same cycle. And the coaching calls keep us accountable, because there's a lot of times we just want to shove that stuff under and we want to pretend it's not there. But when you're forced to talk about it every week, and not forced to, but we bring it up time together. When you have that time with someone and you take that time to look at what's actually going on, it's really nice to make sure that you stay on track for your goals and going where you want to be.
Yeah. Just being accountable to it, like having someone checking in, and yeah. And the funness, yeah, there's so many fun analogies on the spot. I don't know how, I think you might be a comedian in your, next job, because
The best compliment I've ever
funny.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um,
Okay, so we'll wrap up. So what would you tell someone who's on the fence about joining the program or working with me?
well, I would say do it, because it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I would also say, like, I don't know, you deserve it, you're worth it. Like, money on yourself is so hard to do sometimes, but then so worth it. It just, even taking the act, having the faith for half a second, like, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna do it, opens up magic, I think, like doors. Just taking the lead, like, it's okay that it's uncertain, it's okay if there's fears or doubts coming up. That doesn't mean that it's not, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say.
Anytime we do something new, it feels scary and we have to take a leap.
Yeah.
Right? And we start to doubt ourselves. Could I actually do this? Do I deserve it? That's a huge one. I think, especially as women, we have a hard time putting ourselves first and thinking that, oh, this is just a luxury. Like, I don't actually need to take care of myself. I have the kids, I have the husband, I have, whatever you have in your life that you put first beside yourself. But when we do that, we're neglecting ourselves, and our self needs to come first. And one of those being our health. If we're not healthy, if we don't feel good about how we're eating and we're treating ourselves and being kind to ourselves, that will trickle into every other area too. And so that needs to be good first. And it is the best investment in yourself, because it's something that you'll take with you for the rest of your life, instead of just taking with you your negative eating habits and keep getting stuck in the same cycle. All right. So that is all I have. Any last minute thoughts, Brooke?
Well, actually, yeah, that's okay. I would say hang in there. Just hang it. For anyone that is like going through it, it is fucking terrible. Sorry. Oh, man, I said I wasn't gonna.
Okay, you can say it. It's okay.
Okay.
It's no big deal.
It's hard. Like, just hang in there. Just hang in there. And I believe in you. I love you. I love Amber. That's it. That's all. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Yes, no, I love that. Sometimes you just need a little word of encouragement.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, Brooke. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Bye.